Welcome to allergy season here on my channel, where we play with pretty crazy eye looks and false lashes, and we want to rub our eyes out. No, just kidding. Today we're going to be playing with the new Tarte Maracuja Juicy Glow Foundation, and I also picked up one of their blush tape wands. So these are the main focus of today's video. I want to do a try on first impressions and a wear test of this. I'm actually kind of excited. It's been a long time since I've tried a Tarte foundation. I think the last one that I tried was probably the original Amazonian clay. So let's give this a shot. This seems like something that I would probably like, kind of a more lightweight, kind of seamless, my skin but better, glowy foundation. So let's hop right into it. I did pick this up on the QVC website along with the blush tape, but I do see it is available now on the Tarte website. This does retail for $40. It's called the Maracuja Juicy Glow Tint Liquid Youth. It comes in 24 shades. It says, spread your wings and glow with the tint that broke the internet for glazed, juicy skin. Medium flexible coverage, dewy, radiant finish, encapsulated maracuja spheres, create natural dewiness, 91% naturally derived ingredients, 10 plus superfruits, and hyaluronic acid. It's vegan, 16-hour long wear, waterproof, dermatologist tested. It has maracuja oil, grapeseed oil, goji, pomegranate, watermelon, strawberry, blueberry, peach, cranberry, lemon, vitamin E, hyaluronic acid, illuminating flower extract. Okay, so no parabens, phthalates, no gluten, sulfate, all that good stuff. So 91% naturally derived ingredients. This just looks like it's kind of a medium buildable coverage with a glowy tint with about, 16 different berries in it. So that's good. So it only has a 6-month shelf life is what I'm reading on the back of the box. So that's kind of a bummer. And this is just your standard 1 fluid ounce. So yeah, it doesn't go for very long. And by the way, if you can see this redness on my face, you guys, I'm literally wanting to like dig my eye out this time of year here in Florida. It's a little bit early for me to start getting really irritated with the pollen, but it is like dropping pollen and everything turns yellow. The tops of your cars, every flat surface just turns like yellow. And usually around March, April is when it gets really bad, but today I'm dying, and it's always this left eye, so don't be alarmed. It's just allergies. I'm fine. I got mine in the shade Fair Light Neutral, which is 16N. And when you place the order on QVC, they also do send you brushes. So I do have one of the foundation brushes that comes with this foundation. So I guess we'll do half the face with the foundation brush and then half the face with the sponge. It does come with this wooden bottom like a lot of their other like Amazonian clay foundations come with, and it's just a squeezy tube. Let's test out how runny this is. Not as runny as I thought it was gonna be. This actually kind of looks like it would be a thicker, moussier formula than I was anticipating. I can almost see the glow in it. Like whatever the maracuja spheres are, I feel like I see it in the swatch. It almost has like just this light reflecting property about it. And if I'm seeing it correctly, like I can see it in the viewfinder. So I don't know, hopefully this blends in nicely. I'm just gonna put a little bit more on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna dip the brush straight into it and just start applying it to the left side of my face. I do not have like any primer underneath. All I have is a moisturizer from Kate Somerville that I applied hours ago. So this isn't gonna be messing with anything on my face. I'm already seeing like a really metallic finish. And that's really the best way to describe it, is that it's just really metallic. It's almost like a glowy highlighter, not a foundation. We're gonna trust the process and we're gonna keep going. I can see why 24 shades would probably be fine because it's pretty expandable. Like it doesn't have a lot of coverage to it. I know that it said medium buildable, but what, medium glowy? I am just not getting like a lot of coverage out of this. And all I could see is just me setting powder on top of it. And then it kind of defeats the purpose of putting the foundation on. Can you guys see just how glowy that is? Yeah, it just leaves like a glow on the back of your hand. I don't know that it's actually giving me coverage. So it's different. It's a different kind of product for sure. This is just overall like super glowy. I don't see that it offers a whole lot of coverage. It's kind of your like makeup, no makeup. Honestly, I'm definitely gonna have to conceal this redness here. I think maybe it gives like a hint of coverage, but not a lot. Like I wouldn't call this a foundation. I'm just gonna take now my sponge and just blend it in on this side. And can you guys see like just how thick this is? For something that's like this glowy tint, it has that same like tart, moussey texture from that Amazonian clay foundation. I just don't think that it's like super lightweight like it says. And I don't mean to say that it's not like lightweight in the sense that it feels heavy on my face. It's just not a lightweight, thin formula. It doesn't feel heavy when I'm like applying it. On the contrary, it feels pretty light on the face, and it feels obviously like really dewy and all of that. Yeah, I feel like I got more coverage out of the brush, but maybe that's just me. And always like the lighting kind of throws me in here. But what do you guys think? This was the sponge, this was the brush. I feel like the sponge soaked up some of the radiance, oh, just a teeny bit. So I almost say that I kind of prefer it with the brush, but prefer it is subjective at this point because it's such a glowy product. I mean, I'm not gonna leave it like this. Like there's just no way this is gonna stay this glowy. I like its radiance, but I wouldn't leave it this radiant. And it doesn't look super heavy yet. Like my nose is always the part where I kind of watch out for foundations kind of having a tendency to look a little bit heavy. But yeah, I mean, you can still obviously see the redness that I started with because of my allergies, and it didn't conceal like everything, and it's, you know, gonna emphasize texture because it's such a glowy product. I don't deal with a ton of texture. I'm just going in with my Too Faced Ethereal Light Concealer. This is fairly new. It's not a heavy concealer by any means. I just kind of felt like a heavy concealer would look bad with this really dewy foundation. I think we're gonna go for something a little bit more natural here. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to say because like unless you like something this radiant, I just wouldn't leave this like this. I would totally set my face with a powder to try and mattify some of the glow in the places that I just didn't want it. So like, does that defeat the purpose? I mean, it's so glowy, you guys. It reminds me of the new Kosas Glow IV Skin Enhancer. Like it's almost an under the foundation base, but this has more coverage and a tint to it, and it's a moussey texture, so you wouldn't want to wear it like under foundation, like with foundation on top of it. I just think it would be much too heavy. I think first impressions are going to be a little bit tricky on this one. I'm going to set my face with some powder, and I'm just going to use my sponge. But yeah, I mean, look how immediately that takes away the radiance across my nose. And so that's probably like how I would wear this. Like set your T-zone if that's where you get oily, and then just leave like the higher points of your face and you still get some of the glow. But I can see this being not an oily friendly foundation. But I do have to say, I think the powder on top of it looks so pretty. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. So see the radiance like on the high points, but taking off some of the shine in my T-zone was really nice, and leaving it like on my cheeks and the top part of my forehead. I don't know, it looks really pretty. I do like this brush though. Like I preferred using it with the brush as opposed to a sponge. It wasn't leaving it streaky or anything. It just doesn't have enough coverage to really do that. So the brush was really nice, and I think it was a good quality brush too. I don't usually wear like false lashes, and I didn't quite get these even, so if you noticed that, I'm sorry. So we're definitely gonna go into the blush tape. I also wanna throw on their new bronzer. I've tried that on camera many times, but I'm gonna go ahead and finish the eye look. I was using my UOMA Black Magic palette. Oh my gosh, I have been obsessed with the quality of UOMA Beauty's shadows recently. I kind of just discovered them when she launched the quads in Walmart, and I was like, oh my god, where have these been? Like, why haven't I tried the UOMA Beauty shadows before? And they are so good, you guys. The quads, they retail for $10 a piece, but they are so good. The shimmers are amazing. The mattes blend like a dream. They're super pigmented. And because they were like the first shadows that I tried of hers, so I wanted to pick up one of the larger palettes from Ulta. So let me just finish my eye look and we'll come back and we'll apply the rest of the base products. Okay, eyes are finished. Let's go ahead and throw on, and I'm gonna call it a bronzer. This is their Sculpt Tape Contour, but I don't think it's like a contour, honestly. It just has a little bit too much warmth for me. So I've been using it like as a bronzer, but kind of in the same spots that I would normally apply it for a contour. I just think it has a little bit too much red in it, a little bit too much warmth, and so it's more of a bronzer on my skin than a neutral contour shade is kind of what I think of when I think of contour. I have been so enjoying this so much more than the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, because I think that shade for fair to medium in Charlotte's line is just too dark, where I prefer this shade range a little bit more, and I think this looks more natural than the Charlotte does. So while I'm criticizing the tone, I still prefer it way more than the Charlotte wand, honestly. Like, I've been reaching for this all the time. Like, I'm sure at this point I've used like a quarter of this product already, and I haven't even had it a month, long enough to do kind of my like speed reviews on it. It's just that good, I think. And it's like emollient, but it never disturbs like the foundation underneath. And so you have enough time with this product that if you wanted to apply it everywhere, all over your face, and then blend it in, you could. Like, you have that much time to work with it. You guys, if you can hear like a guitar in the background, my husband is playing downstairs. He doesn't care I'm filming. He's like, and you do your thing, I'm gonna do my thing. So everything is applied with the bronzer. Let's go into the blush tape, liquid blush. This one is in the shade Peach. This one also has a 6-month shelf life. I did also pick this up from QVC. We are for sure going to compare it against the Charlotte wand here. And I do not have it in a similar shade. That's par for the course in my channel. Yeah, so I have Pinkgasm and then Peach in this one. I've just been preferring Peach a ton more lately. So while we can't compare colors, we can kind of compare like the consistency and the finish of it. And Charlotte's is a giant mess at this point, so please hold while I clean this up. This is interesting. Like, this is the Tarte one in Peach, and it's not as metallic or light reflecting as the one from Charlotte, and much less than I thought it was going to be, actually. It kind of looks more watery than anything. So I'm gonna try and like rub this in and see what these two finishes look like side by side. But yeah, it's just not as thick. There's the one from Tarte, a lot more sheer than the one from Charlotte. I feel like now that Charlotte has launched her matte blush wands, that Tarte is gonna follow suit with it, obviously because this was duping the Charlotte Tilbury and not by that much less in price point. The one from Tarte isn't dried yet, and the one from Charlotte pretty much is. Like, it has a little bit of a tack to it, but you can tell it's a much faster drying formula. And the one from Tarte doesn't seem to be picking up as I'm touching it, but it's still very wet. I am just going to dot it onto the cheeks the way that I would the Charlotte wand. You can see just how much more sheer it is than the Charlotte. They also did send their blush tape wand brush, so I'm going to use that as well. This is just like a big thick guy. It's pretty dense, but it's tapered. This actually seems like a pretty good quality brush, to be honest. I'm actually glad that they sent these brushes free with purchase, because so far I think they're really nice. Yeah, okay, so as you start to pat it out, you can see more of like the radiant finish. And I wouldn't say it's radiant so much as in like natural, but it definitely has more like metallic in it, the same way that the Charlotte does. And it's the same kind of like consistency that just emphasizes all of the texture on my cheeks, all the little bumps that exist in the world. The shade though, for me, is like a really muted peach. It's just so light. It doesn't have a whole lot of pigment, so it's more of like a flush of color, which surprisingly for me, I'm kind of enjoying. And I say that because if you're new to my channel, I love a punchy blush. I'm somebody who just layers it on until I look like a freaking clown. I love blush. I always have. Even before I started my channel, like, blush was such a huge part of my makeup routine. So yeah, this just looks more like a flush of color. It's really pretty, and it's not disturbing anything as I'm applying it. Like nothing is lifting, even though it seems like a more emollient formula than the Charlotte one and took a little bit more time to dry down. But as it's on the back of my hand, like it's pretty much dried now, and you can see it's not as metallic as the Charlotte one. It's still glowy, it just doesn't have as much metallic as the Charlotte, which again, I kind of feel like I prefer. I ranked the Charlotte blush in my liquid and cream blush video ranking pretty low because it emphasized the texture on my cheeks so much that it was like, it was just too metallic, too light reflecting, didn't look natural. I know it's really popular and a lot of people like it, but it just emphasized all the little bumps. Whereas I think this one has a lot less pigment, light reflecting qualities, a lot less metallic. Like I've said that. Like I feel like when Tarte is out here just kind of duping Charlotte, that they're doing a better job. That is my personal opinion, because I think they took some of the criticisms of the Charlotte wand into consideration when formulating their products, and everything that I criticized them for, they've done opposite in their wands. So, I mean, that's my personal preference. I'm quite excited. I did only pick up one shade. I only did pick up the peach, but again, like I said, that's just what I've been really into lately. It's just like a lot of peach blushes. I don't think I want to put on a highlighter because I think I'm glowing with this foundation and with this blush. I think like that's all that you need. Like you really don't need extra highlighter or extra glow on your cheeks with these. I'm just gonna throw on my Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip. I have mine in the shade Hibiscus. I don't have like the plumping version that a lot of people like. So like I mentioned before, I do want to do kind of a wear test on this. It is a little bit later in the day, but it'll have plenty of time to kind of sit on my face, at least 6 hours. I will come back, I will update you guys on how everything wore. So far it is like kind of sinking into my fine lines, which indicates it's a little bit of a heavier foundation, which is what I said. It was kind of moussey feeling, and as it has sat here for a little bit longer, like I can definitely feel it on my face. Like it's heavier, it's not like lightweight. All right, let's let it sit and I will check back with you guys in a couple of hours. Hey guys, welcome back. So it's about 6 hours later. I have not touched up anything. I just came up here. I didn't even add any more gloss. I've had, you know, plenty of time to play. I've ate dinner, I've done the dishes, I've folded laundry. So I didn't go outside and put this foundation to the test of the climate, but I was, you know, just moving about normally. And I have some thoughts about it. I think that the metallicness went away after I powdered. Nothing was so strong that it really shone through the powder that I laid on top of it. It's a little bit heavy on my nose, but it's not so heavy that it's breaking apart. And I would say it has pretty good lasting power. Now also, the powder that I put on top of it is kind of like a long wear, very trusted powder that locks my foundation into place. So it's hard to test it in the absence of that, because I know this powder is really, really good for like longevity. I am normally very dry skinned, and so I don't get a lot of oils that peek through the foundation. I can see a little bit across my nose now, but not a significant amount. I would say that once you powder over this foundation, this might be something that could work for combo or oily skin without it, you know, being too much of a glowy product. I think the blush takes over a lot of the radiance because it's such a glowy blush. It obviously emphasizes your texture, or the texture on my cheeks anyway, because it's so illuminating, because it has such a sheen to it. And I don't think that the pigment is very strong because of the sheen, where I think the Charlotte has much more of a sheen to it and it's much more pigmented. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more pigmented with the sheen, you're gonna wanna grab the Charlotte. I personally like a lot of pigmentation, but I also personally like the way that this blush looks. I think that the muted sheen doesn't emphasize my texture as much, and I still think that it gives like a good glow to the cheeks. So I do like it, it's just different. They don't perform identically, at least not the one that I have in the peach shade, because it's just not as pigmented. I think everything held up. For whatever reason, this side doesn't look, the blush doesn't look as dark as like this side. And I don't know if that's because I was like maybe resting my hand on my face, or maybe I was touching it a little bit more, but I think that the foundation has good lasting power. It does say 16-hour wear and that it is waterproof. I think overall, in terms of like recommendation for this foundation, I think it actually wore really nice. When I first put it on, I thought it was gonna be a little bit too metallic and I was kind of getting hesitant upon application. And then I was like, oh gosh, like what is this? This is like a thick, moussey, like radiant foundation. But I think once you get all of the other products on that you probably normally put on, it's actually quite nice. So I can see myself reaching for this foundation again. And I think that it's good for someone who's dry skin. So I would say that it's dry skin approved from me anyway. And personally, I have a lot of issues with the heavier foundations and I'm not having that with this one. So even though it was a moussey formula, I don't think that it was too heavy of a foundation or a consistency. So for that part about it, I really liked. It played well with every other product that I put on top of it. So I'm pleased with that. Overall, I would say that I was much more impressed with this foundation than I actually thought I was gonna be when I first started swatching it. I did like the application with the brush just a little bit better because I thought it did give just a little bit more coverage on the brush than soaking it up with the sponge. I kind of just liked that. I don't think that it has a whole ton of coverage when you first apply it because it's like really glowy. I think when I added like the powder that I use does have like a lot of coverage to it, and so I think when I applied that plus the concealer to like my nose and my under eyes, it added a lot more coverage. So I wouldn't say it has a whole ton, but I just again prefer it with the brush. And as a bonus, these brushes are really cool. Like these were really good quality. I was glad that they threw these in there with purchase. My first impressions of this foundation overall are very positive, honestly. I was really surprised. It's been a hot minute since I've just really enjoyed like a Tarte product, and I'm digging their new releases. Like I said on this Sculpt tape, I quite enjoy it. I think that it's really beautiful. I think it's a bronzer and not a contour, but I still think it's really beautiful. And this blush tape is also really beautiful. I'd be interested to see the pigmentation on the other shades. I can just say that this one's not overly pigmented. So those are my final thoughts. I hope that this review was helpful for you guys. I quite enjoyed playing with this and creating this look today. I thought using the UOMA Beauty eyeshadows were so good. They're such good quality. The eye look was great. I was playing with a new, to me, set of lashes, which is the Butterfl'eye 3D Faux Mink lashes from Lilly Lashes. I don't wear lashes that often, even if these weren't like half lashes. Sometimes half lashes literally cover my whole eyes because my eyes are just so small. So I can say that these were super easy to apply. I picked these up at Sephora. They're in the style Dreamy. They're so good. Like I will pick up more of these. Huge fan. I've been trying a lot of lashes lately and I just have not found ones that really look good on my eyes and aren't like too crazy because I just don't like something overly crazy. So I loved the look that I created today. I didn't feel like it was overdone. I really enjoyed the foundation. That's it, you guys. I hope you guys found this review helpful. I am out of here. It's pretty late in the day, so I'm probably gonna go wash all of this off and hop into bed. I will catch you guys all in my next video. Bye.